Hey everyone, this is Chantal Gerardy from Online Business Marketing, and today is a little bit different. I have got the fabulous Tracy Eaton with me today.
Hi.
And what we're going to do is we're going to go through some pretty cool stuff today. And the reason is because Tracy is about to embark on an absolutely fabulous project to raise money and awareness right now, which I'm going to let her explain shortly. And one of the issues or things that she has to consider is that while she is going on this 30-day tour and fundraising and initiative, she's going to be driving and painting and doing all these amazing things. But she also has to do the social media marketing stuff, because if you don't get that stuff done right and you don't get it done easily and quickly, you're going to spend your life online, or you're going to do a 30-day trip and it's not actually going to amount in sponsors or visibility or credibility. So let's explain a little bit more as we go along. But that's why I'm here for the next 2 days at this absolutely amazing campground, which is dog friendly as well. So if we've got to get up to rescue the dogs, that's what we're doing. And absolutely, so it's a big four Gold Coast. They are actually one of the sponsors for Tracy. Amazing place that we're at, but we're getting the opportunity just to strategize before she leaves on the next day. So what I might do now is just start with Tracy. Firstly, Tracy Eaton, the artist. Let's start there.
How long have you got? No, very quickly. Tracy's an artist, painting for over 17 years, full-time around 7 years now, and historically specialized in originals only. But for the last 4 or so years, I have been donating a percentage of everything I've earned to Destiny Rescue to help eradicate sex trafficking and exploitation of kids. Last year I was like, I feel like I need to do more. I was going through some stuff myself, so I really wanted to work out how I could create more impact for these guys. So I created Art for Rescue, which is 4 key projects over the course of 12 months, purely all about raising money and awareness for Destiny Rescue. And as Chantal said, we had our first project or first event last week, but this one is all about me traveling for a month, making my way all around Queensland, stopping, painting live. I've given myself, every time I paint, no more than 5 hours to complete a painting. And trust me, that's like huge. Oh my God. But the whole purpose of that is like social media, we will connect through stories and connect through other people's experiences. And people love to watch paintings being created. So I figured if I park myself up in a cafe or in a pub or wherever people are hanging out and paint live, I'm going to get a chance to talk to lots and lots of random people, which is cool. But as Chantal said, I also need to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with all of that stuff, because I've got a photographer on the road with me, a video, she'll be doing photos and videos, so we can record everything. Me falling over because I'm clumsy, backing nearly drove off today in the van with all my hoses and my power attached. It's like, oh my God, all those things. And then finding a way of actually making sure we put that online daily as quickly as possible, because there'll be potentially 2 major issues. One, certainly time, and 2, connectivity. There might be places we've got this amount of opportunity to actually get what it needs to get done and get the word out, because the more people talk and share and comment on what we're doing, then obviously the more awareness we can generate. And that is not my forte. Hence why I'm here.
And so we're here. So yeah, when Tracy reached out and said to me, this is where she's going to be, I was already in my camper van somewhere else, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll just drive over to you and come spend 2 days, and we'll camper van next to each other, and we'll work out how we're going to do this. So
I just got to rescue my dog.
Yeah, go rescue your dog. Go rescue your dog. She's going to crawl under the van now and get it done. So the thing is that at the end of the day, right? Like Tracy said, it's all fair and well that she's donating her time over the next month and doing all these things, but she has to be able to reach a wider audience. She's got to be able to get online. People have got to be able to see what she's doing so that they can actually donate, so that they can actually. Oh, this is Charlie. You have to meet Charlie. There's Charlie. Say, oh, you're the sweet pie, yeah. She's got to be able to, in order to make a difference, you've got to be able to make an impact, which means you've got to be able to reach a wider audience. And there's a certain way to do it. So like with everything, I always say the number one thing is the S word. It's not sex, it's strategy. So the strategy is all about the outcome. So the outcome of this is to raise
Outcome is
awareness
money.
and raise money, right? It's not just, oh, look at me painting on the road, whoopee do, right? That's great, but the outcome is money. So you've got to work backwards from that and go, how am I going to be able to achieve that? And the first step to doing that is then go look at your audience and go, who is your audience? And as Tracy said, they recently just had a gala here on the Gold Coast, of which I was able to support and raise 71,000.
71,000, which is the first time Jesse Rescue have done anything of a like a corporate gala type scenario. So that was pretty awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that was very exciting. And the goal I've set in place for the journey, 30 days, lots of people, 130,000.
130,000. Okay, 130,000 in 4 weeks. Awesome. So we got to identify the audience and go, who are the audience? Well, the audience are people who have a heart, who care about ending sex trafficking, potentially people who travel with dogs, dog people, vanners, corporate sponsors.
We've got two very clear, or quite different segments actually. Everyday people, like I said, we've got heart, and then other people business owners who may be like, wait a minute, I want to help support and grow this too.
Yep.
Very different messages.
Be a part of that, 100%. And then, of course, looking at the different platforms and going, which platforms are they going to be on, and making sure that you get onto all those platforms as easily as possible. And we all know that sometimes if you're posting on Instagram, it goes across to Facebook. But the problem is if you allow that to do that, you don't have the right handles. You now haven't tagged those businesses, which means you're losing out on visibility and credibility. So I am going to go through all of that today. I've actually called something, I think it's called Chantal's posting ritual, which I created for you, which is honestly, you're very lucky I'm giving this to you because none of you are paying for this. But number 4, and thank you to Rachel because I did send it to her a little bit earlier. And number 4 was one of my fundamentals of social media is getting people the hell of social media. So the thing is that if people are on there, they're liking, they're commenting, they're engaging, that's really great. But what we really need to do is get them offline, and we need to get them to pledge, or we need to get them to sponsor. So one of the things that Tracy has set up is a link tree. We went and cleaned that up today as well, made sure that it was a lot clearer, the difference between Tracy Eaton, the artist, and Tracy Eden Art for Rescue project, made it really easy for people so they could go in. Sorry, you're going to see a dump truck now.
That's a gas truck. So much better.
And we thought I was giving you the back end. Nice for you. Yeah, so get people offline. So making sure that you've got your pledging links, make sure that people can click through to the website. So obviously Tracy's using Linktree for that, so that way they can connect with her. So the second thing after strategy is understanding the algorithm. So when we understand the algorithm, we know that the algorithms prioritize relevant content with high engagement, which means we've got to get likes, we've got to get shares, we've got to get comments. So Tracy needs to obviously be online and encouraging that kind of content that's going to do that. But it's also then around, out of all the times that they could go and sort this out, they're doing this now. So sorry. Can you hear that noise? Oh, you can't. Thank God. There's a massive noise here. They're like, all the things. Anyway, so making sure that when we are liking, commenting, and engaging. So, for example, even when I was checking in here, I've been checking in for the last 2 days at Big Four because they're one of the sponsors. However, they're not going in and they're not commenting, they're not liking, and they're losing out on all the credibility that I could be giving them. And I'm taking pictures of dogs and going, it's so nice to have the dogs here, and you can work here, you can play here, and it's such a luxury accommodation. And they're losing out on all of that because they're not allowing any of that on their channel. They're not actually liking or commenting. And so I actually went to their marketing agency, their marketing staff here, and I said to them, hey, listen, guys, please note that this is what I'm doing. Really good for you to jump in on that wagon. So consistency is obviously key, like posting once a day, probably not good enough, at least twice a day, I would be saying, twice a day, if even 3 times a day, if you're looking at a platform like Facebook, but twice definitely, no less than that.
I've been posting 3 times a week.
3 times a week. So that's obviously going to have to change now, especially when you're on a mission, you want to get traction. I always say it's like a rash. As soon as a rash starts scratching and it starts to take off, we want to keep scratching that rash, right? But one of the most important things is relevancy. If it's not relevant, so if Tracy doesn't tell the story and it doesn't explain the why, and one of the things I said to Tracy was, don't expect them to know what's been going on in your world and your journey for the last year. You have to treat everyone like it's a stranger, like it's the first time they've come across your post. You can't just expect that they know. So you've got to make sure that when you are sharing the story that you always have to act like it's the first time they've ever seen that post. so that it does make sense. You can't just presume that they know what you're talking about. And then, of course, we want to make sure that for the algorithm, we want to get as much watch time as possible. And watch time means that we need to share that video content, and we need to make those videos short and engaging. Lucky she's got a cute dog, because we all know that dogs do really well. We all know that Ziggy's very part of my branding as well, and he helps to get that as well. So, you know, vanning, dogs, artwork, there's a lot of things that you can do for video content, short, engaging, which is going to increase watch time, which means the algorithm's going to go berserk, right? So likes, comments, shares, relevancy, consistency, and making sure then again you're getting lots of watch time. Then we're talking about content creation. And when we talk about high quality content creation, I'm not talking about schmick. I'm not talking about professional, put on your makeup, get all dressed up and, you know, go and do a professionally edited piece of content. When I talk about quality, I mean relevant. It's relevant. It is impactful. It makes sense. And when you tell stories, it just generally will. Even now, Tracy just so beautifully articulated why she's doing what she's doing. And that in itself is enough. It just, you know, we don't need to put on makeup. We could just attend this right now in our outfits, and we could just wear this and it could still be the best bit of content ever, right? All right. So storytelling. Storytelling, absolutely important. I always say that this is one of the biggest cheats in all the world. If you don't know what content to create, just tell the story of what just happened. Because if it means something to you, chances are it'll mean something to everyone else. And the last thing is that your content needs to be educational and informative and inspiring. It's educational, informative, inspiring. Very important. All right, so let's talk about some practical tips now. Okay, when it comes to hashtags, you want to make sure that you're looking at popular hashtags, but also relevant hashtags. So, for example, I know that dog-friendly camping is a very popular hashtag. There's another one called dog camping, which is another good hashtag. So these are good, relevant ones to use right now when you're traveling with a dog and you're in a camper van. All right, it's still relevant. And you're going to connect with those types of people as you go out into those areas. You can use a tool like Hashtagify, which is an app, and there are some other free hashtag research tools that you can use. There's obviously some paid ones as well. Obviously, just go to App Store and whatever, and you'll be able to find them. But you don't just want the massively popular ones, because sometimes you can be lost in the feed. You want some of those quirky little ones as well. So, for example, I like the one Only Vans Club, obviously, because I'm a little bit cheeky. And believe it or not, that's not a very popular one, but I like that one. So I like to use that one. And then Tracy's only just got it now. I've been sharing that for the last 2 days, and she's only just got Only Vans Club. So anyway, it's still relevant to what we're doing. You know, our vans are sleeping together for the next 2 nights. So it's good. And then, as I said, you want to make sure then that obviously you could be using some specific ones. So for Tracy, what is your specific hashtag? Oh, for rescue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just maybe. Okay, art for rescue. Right, Destiny rescue.
Your hashtag is art for rescue.
Oh.
Is your specific hashtag.
Okay.
Yeah. Destiny Rescue, of course, will have their their handle, Destiny Rescue. I would imagine that they've also got a hashtag Destiny Rescue as well.
Yeah.
And it's really simple, guys. You can just go on to hashtags in Instagram and search hashtags. You can also do that on Facebook, but remembering Facebook and Google yet don't actually need hashtags. Hashtags are mostly for Instagram and LinkedIn. Yeah. And then the hashtags you use on LinkedIn and Instagram are very different. So again, LinkedIn hashtags are, it is what it is, whereas Instagram hashtags are more cool, quirky. They're a little bit longer tail, longer form. They're more like what people would be searching for because it's a younger demographic, more B2C, less B2B. So go search them. Whatever platform you're using, go search them, because what works on Instagram is not going to work on LinkedIn. So you want to make sure that it's still relevant in all the platforms. But if you have your own one, use it on every platform, because then it'll come up in Google as well. Okay, so tagging. Let's talk about tagging. So when we talk about tagging, I'm talking about your handle. Now, some people don't know handles. They don't know tags. So sometimes I say handles, I say tags, or what's your @. Now, it's going to be different. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, sometimes when you went to set up your Instagram, you couldn't get your @. So you changed it. You put something else in there. You might have put a number or another word or Gold Coast or something else in it, which means you may not have the one. The one might be an underscore, but the other one might be a a dot point. Like, so you may have to make sure that you understand what your ads are for your business so that you can use them. But you've also got to make sure, and this is what I was saying to Tracy, that you know what they are for your sponsors. So I might actually turn you and just show you the van. Not that van, but in the background over there, you can see Red Dog Campers sponsored the vehicle, the camper van that they're using. And of course, it's got all the sponsors' logos all over it. But can you imagine how much time it would take if you had to go onto Facebook and Instagram and go, what was their handle again? What was their at? What was their tag? And you're trying to find them and look at the little circle and am I tagging the right business? Whereas I suggested to Tracy, all you've got to do is set up a Google Sheet, share the Google Sheet to all the sponsors and ask them to put in all their personal handles, their Facebook, their Instagram, any groups they might have, because they might have Facebook groups, any specific hashtags that they might use as well, and send that all out. And at least they putting it in. But I also said to Tracy, be very careful because some of them may not know what you're talking about. And they might just go, this is my business name and stick it in there. We want the actual URL, the actual at, the actual handle. So then we can go, when you go into post, you simply can copy paste all of them in and make sure then that you're making them blue. You're hyperlinking them so they're actually active URLs. Because if they're not active URLs, if they don't actually turn blue, if they don't actually connect and it just says at and it hasn't been turned on, then it's turned off, which means they're not getting the notification. It means you're not getting that exposure. They're not getting the exposure.
So you could do that for clients and suppliers as well.
100%. 100%. It's much better to get it from them than for you to go search and try find them. Because firstly, that takes you a long time. And secondly, if there's an issue with it as well, you can say it's your fault, not your fault. Because the reality is some of them may not know. So don't presume they actually know what they're doing because many don't. You might actually have to say your at, your handle, your URL. If you get stuck, go into Facebook, get your actual URL and send it to us. And you'll be able to see straight away if it's wrong or right. So yeah, you just want to make sure that you do get the right ones. It makes your life easier when you're on Instagram and Facebook because it's completely different. It just means that you might have to go onto Instagram, create the post, then you've got to go into Facebook, create the post, but you're going to have to change all your ats and your handles because they're going to be different on each of the posts. But that way, you're getting all your traction on Instagram, you're getting all your traction on Facebook, as opposed to if you just go into Instagram, let it go across to Facebook, and now all of a sudden, the ads don't work. So, for example, I think I'm Chantal Gerardy on Facebook, whereas I'm Chantal Gerardy on Instagram, which means it's not going to connect. So it's better to just do it individually and make sure the ads are all right. So let's just have a look at that. So the other thing then is to make sure that if you get atted, so on the road, Tracy's going to be on the road and people are going to see her and they might be going, oh, at Tracy Eaton, or they might be going hashtag Art for Rescue. Tracy now needs to check her notifications every day. I know. And she's going to have to comment and reply because the whole purpose of you going out is to go get those people to show interest in you. You can't ignore them. I know, you can't. You can't ignore them. You have to now, just once a day, thank you, Mary. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your share. Thank you for taking the time. They might even be asking for a pledge link. In fact, Rachel the other day messaged me or left me a voice message and said there was another agency who tagged a business and somebody had actually asked what the business was. And because it wasn't tagged, they didn't know what the name of the business was. And then the person was actually asking what the business was, but the person wasn't responding to the reply that the person gave. So can you imagine how little credibility you're going to get? So once a day, you are going to have to go in, search your Art for Rescue hashtag and reply to those people and thank them. You can't just say thanks, thumbs up, thumbs up. You are just going to have to change some of your replies. And you're going to have to do it on every platform, check your notifications, and then check your hashtags as well. You are.
Which you'll have to show me how to do.
I will. I will show you how to do it. So you're going to have to engage in that. But not only that, like I said, Tracy's going to have to also, when she sends the Google Sheet to the sponsors, say to them, please, 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 over the next 30 days, I'm going to be tagging you. Please like, comment, and share. Because we've done that over the last 2 days, and some of them have just gone thumbs up. Thumbs up. That does nothing for their business. They should be sharing it to their platform. So now we're in front of their audience. They're in front of our audience. They should play the game. Some people don't have a coach like me. They don't know how to play the game. So therefore it's in your best interest to tell them how to play the game. So when Red Dog Campers came here today, I said to them when they left, please note, we're tagging you at the moment. It would be great if you could like, you could comment, you could share, join the conversation. Actually, sometimes saying join the conversation is better than commenting. Comment and join the conversation. Because when you go comment, they're like, join the conversation. Have your say. Think about Red Dog Campers. They could go, yes, we absolutely loved putting in all those specific shells for you and putting in the Wi-Fi so that while you're on the road, you could have Wi-Fi. Imagine them adding that to the post. People are now reading going, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I want Wi-Fi in my van, you know? So that's a great opportunity for them to like add to the conversation and put their brand in front of it. All right, the next one. The next one is checking in. So checking in is when you get to a location, you check in. All right. Now, like I tell my daughters, remember that when you check in, people know where you are. Okay. My girls, my twins remember it very well when they checked in on Instagram one time, and then some bullies came and found them at the Sasai Bowl place 5 minutes later because they were around the corner. So please understand that checking in is telling people where you are. All right. But for this instant, this is really good for you, especially because Big Four are one of the sponsors. So obviously they want their parks shown off. All right. So checking in at the different Big Fours is going to bring awareness to their facilities. So talking about how dog friendly it is, and how lovely the accommodation is, and is great. However, anyone else who's checking in or checking in on the check-ins at the Big Four where you are going to see Tracy's post and are going to go, oh my gosh, look who's here at the campground and look at what she's doing. I actually love the idea of ending sex trafficking. You know what? I'm going to go take a picture of the van, or I'm going to make a pledge, or I'm going to go do something. I'm going to follow her journey. All right. I had a conversation when I arrived here yesterday with a couple down at the terrace where you're allowed to have your dogs. And they said, what are you here for? And I said, this is what I'm doing. They said, that's amazing. We're going to come walk past and have a look at the van. So checking in is bringing your awareness to where you are. It's helping the location. It's also, though, also bringing aware. It's also helping people search for you in that location and find you so they can now follow you. So really, really important. And like I said, I had to go and notify Big Four that they really need to be adding into the conversation as well. So yeah, checking in really important. So if Tracy is in Toowoomba, she could check in Toowoomba. If she's at a specific cafe, check in at that cafe so people who come to that cafe can see what she's doing. And then, of course, it's important for her to talk about why she's there, what she's doing, and always have the next step call to action. So if you want to sponsor, if you want to pledge, here is our link. Check the comments below. Really important, because the next time I go to my cafe and I go to check in at my cafe, I go, oh my gosh, look at Tracy. She was in here painting yesterday, doing this. What an amazing thing. How can I pledge? How can I sponsor? All right. Very, very important. So make sure that your deets are there. Your deets are there. And that's why today we cleaned up her link tree. Very important. All right. So sharing. Let's talk about sharing. Sharing is about cross-promoting content, all right? And you want to make sure you share your posts across different platforms. For me, sometimes it's a little bit easier just to copy paste. And I'm going to share with you Chantal's ritual for posting a little bit later, but I like to put it in notes, copy paste it, and then put it in the relevant platforms, because that way I can personalize it according to the platform or the platform or the feature. So for example, whether or not it's a reel, a story, or post, it's just easier for me to do it that way. But you want to make sure as well that you, so for example, I was showing Tracy today, when she creates a post, you can share it to your story. Okay, because Tracy wasn't sharing it to her story. Now, some people watch stories and some people watch reels and some people read posts. So you want to make sure that you're on all of them, because obviously you're going to get more exposure. But sharing is really easy. So sharing it to your story is really easy. But when you share it to your story, don't be lazy. Never be lazy. Respect the platform that you're on. And I shared with Tracy today that when you go to stories, you have to then go and put the location again in, put your hashtag in. You can put your link for your pledging in there. You can add a GIF or a little arrow that points. Because now I'm in a new place. I'm now in stories. I'm now not in your post anymore. And whilst it's cheating, because you don't have to create that content again, you do have to respect now that I'm in stories. So make sure that it's click worthy. I always say scroll stoppable. Okay. So somebody actually stops scrolling and clicks on it. So really, really important. And then of course, by tagging people there as well, it now goes into their DMs, which means they can now add it to their story. But here's the thing. Some people are not checking their Instagram DMs and not seeing that Tracy's just tagged them. And of course, because it's a story, it's gone in 24 hours, which means if we were to tag, say, for example, at Kira Services, who's one of the sponsors, it would be in the DM for 24 hours to say that she could now, they could now add it to their story. So now they're getting credibility. And now Tracy's audience is in front of their audience is in front of her audience. But now they're not checking their socials because they're checking their socials once a week. And they're not checking their socials daily, and they're not looking at their DMs. They're not looking, they don't know how to play the game, right? And then they're wondering why they're losing out on exposure and brand awareness. Anyway, and that's why I'm here for the next couple of days, crash course and all of this. All right, so that is checking in, making sure you check in. Sorry, making sure that you're sharing as well. Sharing. And then the other thing about sharing is asking, obviously, other people to share as well. So one of your call to actions would be if this, you know, pulls on your heartstrings, please share it. Share it with someone you know who's passionate about art. Share it with someone you know who's passionate about camper vanning, about dogs camping, about ending sex trafficking. You know, share it with somebody and just asking people to share. And then when they share, you'll notice, you'll see underneath it'll say 1 share, 2 share, 3 shares. Click on the shares, and if their profiles are public, you'll be able to see where they've shared it to. And then you can actually comment on their post and say, thank you for the share. Okay. So for example, Tracy's lovely husband, Wayne, yesterday saw that I created a post and I tagged Tracy. And I think even before Tracy did, Wayne went and he shared it. So whenever you share something, just remember, don't be lazy. Don't just share. Always write a scroll stoppable headline with your share, always. And then I saw that he shared and I commented and said, thank you for sharing. What a great cause. Okay. You've got to pay attention to these things, and you've got to make sure you follow through, follow up. Favorite F words. All right. So that is all about commenting and responding, which I feel like I've spoken enough about on here. But with collaborations and partnerships, you want to make sure that you're playing the game, but you want to make sure that you just supporting them and playing the game. So within a couple of days, if they haven't played the game, if they haven't liked, commented, or whatever, you're losing out on reach, which means it would be really good for Tracy just to pick up the phone and go, hey guys, just wondering, you know, it'd be really good. Have you seen our post? It'd be really good if you could jump on and just share it. Really good if you could tag us. Really good if you add it to your email newsletter over the next month, because you're doing it for a month. Add it to your email newsletter, to their database to say, please pledge here. You know, this is who we've sponsored. This is what we've done. This is how we can really change more lives and get them to send it out in email as well. Skim reading my notes over here to see, because this is going to maximize your exposure. And it's mutual growth and mutual visibility. It really is a win-win for everyone as well. Yeah, as I said, just making sure you get the tags right, making sure that you've got the agreed upon hashtags that you're going to be using, and the benefits of what's in it for them. So for example, if Tracy just tags the van, but she doesn't talk about the features, there's nothing really in it for them to share it. So it is important for you to always comment on features or something. So for example, I said dog-friendly campsite, great place to work and play from. You know, you want to also talk about the features of what it is as well, because it's because you, especially like if you say you just did a whole thing about the van, the camper van, and said red dog campers, come and have a look at my toilet, come have a look at my kitchen, have a look at my bed, have a look at where I plug in and where I cook and what I do and my awning and everything. Red dog campers are more likely to share that content now, even feature that in the newsletters, because literally you've gone and created content for them. And that's called user-generated content. So user-generated content, more likely for them to use it and share it, which is really good. All right. Facebook, remembering you've got Facebook groups, you've got stories, you've got live videos, you've got reels. Just some stats for you. Live videos on Facebook can get 6 times more interactions than regular video posts. Okay. Instagram, use stories for daily updates and interactive content. So things like polls and questions. Stories have a 50% higher engagement rate compared to regular posts. Reels are insane. We all know video content reels is really good, and you can keep them short and cheap and nasty. But you've got to make sure that they are, especially that first picture that you use is very very like that, which I'm going to show Tracy how to do because I have a feeling she doesn't know how to do that based on the cover pictures of what she has at the moment. So I'm going to show her how to do that. And then again with Instagram, don't forget that you've got the partner, there's a button for collaborators where you can actually tag a collaborator in Instagram, which means they can accept that now. Rachel and I did that for one post to test it, and it meant my content went on my Instagram and her Instagram content as well, which means that we both had it now on each of our Instagrams. They've just got to accept it, but you can do that now. So that's called collaborations. It's the collaborations button on Instagram. LinkedIn, you can publish articles, so longer form content. You've got 2 times higher engagement rate with articles. And obviously LinkedIn, you've also got professional groups, so you can go and share your content to LinkedIn groups and perhaps look for sponsors there because it's more B2B kind of platform. Respecting platforms, always respect your platform, respect your audience. I'm not going to go too much into that today, but you have to make sure that you do that. We have spoken a bit about that. And then making sure that you always look at analytics. So at least once a week, go in and go, what is working, what's not working, and ask yourself why. Why is this working? Why is it not working? What can I do better? Look at the days, look at the time, look at the type of content and go, right, what can I change? Why do I think that one worked really well? And then just try to recreate that. When we talk about scheduling versus posting organically, I spoke with Tracy about this today because Tracy was like, I'm going to go bulk content today and I'm just going to, and she sent me some beautiful posts to review and they were really great. But I was like, there's something that happens, and I do this even when I do my podcasts. I go and I record 3 podcasts at a time. Now, my podcast producer wants me to do 4 at a time, but what I've noticed is that my 4th one sucks every time. My 4th one is just dull, it's boring. And actually from 1 to 4, they probably start losing their impact. They just start to dwindle. It gets really difficult. So I said to Tracy, because she's creative, I feel like, actually you tell them, like when I said to you, do you want to rather bulk content create, or do you feel like it would actually be better if in the moment something like struck you and you went, yeah, I'm going to create that content now? What do you think would work better for you?
Look, I think you're right. I mean, I'm such a, oh my God, check that out. That's so cool. And I want to share that straight away. I have done that, but what tends to happen, especially when I'm in my little creative zone, I go back on it later that day, or someone will ring me and go, like, even my gala, like Destiny Gala, really important event, and I put the wrong date in. Because I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Check this out. You've got to be here. And I said the 6th of June. I'm like, no, it's Saturday, the 8th of June. I'm like, yeah, but it says 6th on your post. So I guess what I'm saying is I agree. I think my energy and my heart will come through organically, but
what did I tell you to do?
Actually stop before you post off and check it all. And that's the hard part for me because I get excited.
So, and that's the strategy part, right? At the end of the day, if you've got a strategy, and I said this to Tracy, it's not about you. It's about you because you're the vessel. So you're the vessel. So you go in, it's your creativity and it's what you're doing, right? But then afterwards, you've got to stop. And before you push the post button, it's now about the greater cause. It's about the strategy. It's about the sponsors. It's about making a difference. And that means you just got to stop and you've got to check it. Are my hashtags right? Are my ads right? Is my date right? Have I got my call to action? Have I got a scroll stoppable headline? And I feel like, if you just make that one rule, I feel like that's really going to be beneficial because bulk content creating can be soul destroying. It can start to lack its luster as well. It can. Yeah. So for me, it's around just putting the time in your diary every single day. So if you decide 7 a.m., 7 p.m., I'm going to put half an hour in, that's my content creation time and I'm going to post, do it.
Can I ask a question related to that? Is it important for us to schedule at the same time? Is that a positive or a negative? Or can we just do it whenever we want?
Look, there are obviously times you have to look at your audience and go, when are they generally online? Okay. Everyone goes 7 and 7. The problem with that is everyone goes 7 and 7. So if everyone's doing 7 and 7, your feeds are really full of 7 to 7 content. The thing is that algorithms work on words. So if you put the right words in and you put the right content in, you'll still smash through and get to the right people anyway. But for that third piece of content, if you were out during the day and you're busy painting, then just go live. Just go live. I have a tripod there. I've got a tripod over here. Have a tripod going and just go live and just do a live while you're out posting during the day. especially for a platform like Facebook. And if you're trying different pieces of content in that, the only way you're going to truly know is at the end of the week, if you go back and look at your content and go, what works better? Because the other thing is there's rainy day versus non-rainy days. Because rainy days, you always get more views. So if it's raining, it's really important to put content out. But also public holidays, that changes as well. If it's a beach day, a lot of people go to the beach, which means you've got less time. Everyone goes to the beach, which means there's no point in posting midday on a good day at the beach because everyone's at the beach on a weekend. So no one's online. So you have to think about when people are online, and that can change as well. It's not just about, the days, the times, it's also the weather. it's also the weather and the situation, Monday to Friday versus weekends. So let's just go through this quickly because I do have some other stats over here. Stay up to date with what's working or not working. So if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe on onlinebusinessmarketing.com.au because we send out weekly content with what's working and not working right now in the industry, or follow the YouTube channel. Let's just have a look at some more stats though. High quality images or videos get 38% more engagement than those without visual content. So 38% more. Content with relevant hashtags sees a 12.6% increase in engagement. So 12.6% increase in engagement when you use good hashtags. All right. So you can see straight away that just by doing these little extra things, you can reach a wider audience and you can do so much better. So if this is going to be your business, then this is what you have to do. You can't just raise money. You want to do really well at this, you've got to do this stuff. Collaborative posts and mentions, so tags, can increase social media by 30 to 40% due to exposure by both partners. So here's the thing. That's if 30 to 40% more, but if they're not playing the game, you're not going to get that. Okay, so this is why it's so important. Now, responding, because I said to Tracy, and she was going like this earlier, responding to comments, engagement, shares. The stat is 71% increase in your social media visibility if you do that, if you respond. Okay, if you
every single one.
Yes. Yeah. Unless it's stupid. I don't do stupid. Like if it's doff, South African word, I don't. If it's some mindless whatever. But if it's a person who's showing interest in what you're doing, that's what you're trying to get is interest.
Yeah.
You're trying to get interest. They're doing what you want them to do. You can't disrespect them by not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Facebook Lives, you get 6% more interactions. Instagram stories, 50% more. I've already said that, 50% more higher engagement rate. Okay, Chantal's posting ritual. I'm going to fly through this, but it is going to be in 3 days after this live. It's going to be up on a blog, and it's going to be called Chantal's Posting Ritual. It will be with the blog, and you'll get this. You'll get the step-by-step of this, so don't worry. I'm going to fly through this though quickly so that you'll get it. And remember, it is relevant today. Whatever the date is today, set because it changes all the time. 17th of June, birthday month. Woo! 17th of June, 2024. All right, here we go. 15 steps. I start on Facebook. I start actually on my phone. I edit all my images and my videos on my phone first, and I favorite them. Then I go to notes, and I consider my strategy, my outcomes, and my content plan, and I write my post in notes, and I use an Apple phone. Then for Facebook, I copy paste it onto Facebook, and I add the relevant check-ins, hashtags, tags, and media. Then if it's a reel, I create the reel, I add music and choose my cover photo. Very important, choose a cover photo because that is scroll stoppable. And then I double check and I post. Then I use the share icon and I add it to my story, my Facebook story. Then in Facebook story, I use the little face square icon and I add location tags, music, links, and other media. Then, if appropriate, I share to relevant Facebook groups and any pages I may have with a scroll stoppable headline. So whenever you share, always a scroll stoppable headline first, like your why. Then I go to Instagram. I copy paste the content and I add the media. So for example, it might be a post, a carousel, or a reel. I then format it according to the platform. I add the relevant tags, hashtags, music, location, and collaborators if required. Then I check it. And then I post. Because sometimes, even while you're writing it, it suddenly loses its ats. Do you know how annoying that is? That happened to me when I was doing Hands Across the Water. And I was like, I had about 30 sponsors, and I'd go and add all the 30 sponsors that all hyperlink blue, so that, and then suddenly as I'm about to push post, all the blues went away and I'd have to do it all over again. So you've got to check it, right? Worst case scenario, you can go into comments afterwards and tag them in the comments afterwards, but it is better if it's in the original post. Then on Instagram, once I've done my post, whether or not it's a reel, a post, a story, I then use the share icon and I add it to Instagram stories. What do? I respect the platform of stories, and I go and I use the square face icon. I add the location, tags, music, links, and any other media to that. Then LinkedIn, I copy paste the content and add the media. I would add relevant tags and hashtags. Remember, hashtags only 3 to 5, and it is what it is. And then I check the post, and then I check it, and then I post it on LinkedIn. And then, if relevant, I'd add it to any of the LinkedIn groups. Last thing, if relevant, I would then go to notes again, copy paste it, put it into Google My Business, check it, and again, put the call to action in, which you can do on Google My Business. So you can actually put the physical link in the Google My Business post in there. Remember, Google's the #1 search engine, guys. So if you're posting it on Google and people are looking at sex trafficking or art for rescue, you're now increasing your Google searching by doing it, by putting it into Google. And of course, as I said, Google has a proper call to action space, so you can put the link in there as well. Okay, you simply copy paste it. Where's the best place to do that? It's actually on your phone in Google Maps. So if you're logged in and you go to Google Maps on your phone, I call this a toilet activity. You go into Google My Business, because you've already got it on your notes. Go into Maps on your phone. Go down to the bottom right-hand corner. There's a little blue icon that says My Business Profile. Click into that. Straight away it comes, it says add an update. Put in a picture. Always put in a picture. Put in a picture. Push paste, put your call to action in. And again, Rachel, winner of the day today for keeping me on my toes. Rachel reminded me that Google My Business is a bit funny with the size of the images that you put in. If you're looking for it, it is the Canva Instagram post size. So if an image doesn't work, you just put it into Canva, stretch it so it fits into the Instagram post size, and then use it. On your phone, it's super easy to do. Okay, so that is my 15 Chantal's current posting ritual of what to do. And if you follow that, it will be drug, sex, and rock and roll for you online. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say goodbye to the live audience, to our non-live audience, and then I am going to, you're still here. And then for our live audience, you can ask Tracy any questions that you may have. For you to be part of the live audience, you do have to be a paying member or current client, and then you'll get to see me at campgrounds and get to watch people walk past.